You ever see someone so obsessed with control that they're willing to burn their whole world down just to win a neighborhood argument? Yeah, that actually happened in my town. And let me tell you, none of us saw the fire coming until it was lighting up the night sky, and by then, it was already too late to stop the fallout. You know what I mean? I remember standing in that packed courtroom, the air so thick you could cut it, and watching as the bailiff called, "All rise," while every pair of eyes turned toward the back doors. The woman shuffling in, shackled, head held just high enough not to look scared, was Colleen Markham, our HOA president, a woman whose entire life revolved around mailbox colors and porch lights, now standing trial for burning down a judge's house. And here's the real kicker. The judge she burned out of his own bed was sitting up there on the bench, black robe and all, staring right back at her like a man who'd just lost everything but wasn't about to lose his dignity. That moment, I swear, it was like lightning had just struck the middle of the room. The woman who ran our HOA, now facing down the man she'd tried to erase, and everyone, I mean everyone, could feel the charge between them. It hadn't always been this way. A few months back, our little corner of Wilmington, North Carolina, was like a postcard. Brick houses, hydrangeas, weekend barbecues, neighbors waving from the curb. Nothing more dramatic than a dispute over the color of the mailbox. Judge Andre Colston had moved in thinking he'd found peace, a place to breathe between courthouse cases, somewhere to heal after losing his wife, a home to fill with family memories. But then there was Colleen, clipboard in hand, who treated the HOA rules like scripture. First, she went after his porch light. Rules say off by 11, judge. Then the hedges, then the mailbox shade. Andre laughed it off at first, joking with his friend Marcus that maybe she used a ruler to measure grass. But beneath the jokes, it was getting to him. Letters piled up. Complaints escalated. His sister Sharon warned him, "This feels personal, Dre, not just about rules." And she was right. But he wanted to believe it would blow over if he just kept his head down, kept being the calm, steady man everyone said he was. But Colleen wasn't letting go. She'd snap photos of his car, time the guests who came by, glare across the street like she was waiting for a slip-up. Neighbors whispered about her, but nobody stood up in HOA meetings. She was loud, pushy, and honestly, most folks just wanted to avoid getting on her radar. Andre kept records, stacked the letters, tried to hold on to his peace. But Colleen was building a wall of hostility, and one night, when Andre confronted her directly, "Why is my mailbox the only one you check twice a week?" She let it slip. "Because you don't belong here. Not the way you think you do." That cut deeper than any letter, deeper than any fine. From there, it got ugly, quick. Rocks on the porch. Accusations of rule breaking for the smallest things. One Saturday, Andre's nephew Julian asked, "Why don't you just move, Uncle Dre?" And the judge, tired but proud, said, "If I run, she wins." And what lesson would that teach you? He meant it, but part of him wondered if patience was enough when hate just keeps growing. By July, the neighborhood was buzzing with tension. Colleen would pace outside his house at night, mutter to herself, even shout across the street, "You think you're better than us, Judge?" One night, something hit the door, a rock, caught on the camera, with Colleen's silhouette slinking away. Sharon begged him to do something, but Andre kept waiting, hoping she'd stop short of real harm. Then came the fire. It was a humid Thursday. Thick air, cicadas droning, Andre just drifting off when the smell of smoke jerked him awake. By the time he hit the hallway, the house was filling with choking clouds, the alarm screaming. He barely grabbed his briefcase and phoned before flames chased him out the door. Neighbors rushed out. Linda from 2 doors down pulled him across the street. Victor arrived breathless. Cops and fire crews everywhere, red lights flickering against the night. By dawn, his house was a black shell, his wife's hydrangeas and family photos reduced to ash. And you know what? Everyone knew who did it. The woman who'd been circling his property at night, who'd called the cops over a porch light, who muttered about people not belonging. Investigators found accelerant by the fence, a gas can in Colleen's garage, security footage of her car creeping by at 2 a.m. They arrested her in front of half the neighborhood, her chin up, eyes cold, not a tear, as if daring anyone to call her out. Linda whispered, "She looks proud." And Victor just shook his head, "She's sick." Andre, standing across from the ruins, told the detectives, "Justice takes time. But justice has to be fair, even for her." And he meant it. But nobody was ready for what came next. The case was a media circus. Reporters, neighbors, the whole county buzzing. But the shock wasn't that Colleen was arrested. It was that Judge Colston, the man she tried to burn out, was scheduled to hear her case. That morning, as Colleen was brought in, the air was electric. Her lawyer pled not guilty. The room gasped. Even with footage, evidence, everything, she denied it. And for a moment, Andre saw something in her eyes that chilled him. Not fear, not regret, but a flicker of satisfaction, like she'd forced him to confront her on her terms. Sharon begged him to recuse himself, but Andre, exhausted, said, "If I walk away, she wins again." Justice has to be tested when it's hardest, or it means nothing. The trial cut deep. Witnesses told the truth. Linda about Colleen's late-night pacing, Victor about the warnings, Sharon about the endless letters. Photos of the burned house flashed on the screen. Andre's 911 call played for the jury, and Colleen sat stone-faced, scribbling angry notes. When the verdict came down, guilty on all counts, felony arson with hate crime enhancement, there was relief, not celebration. Andre's face stayed unreadable, but the weight in the room lifted just a little. At sentencing, Colleen stood in chains, a shadow of the woman who once ran the neighborhood, and Andre finally let his voice crack. "You burned down my home. You chose hate. You chose violence. Now you have to live with the consequences." The judge who lost everything chose not to lash out, but to stand taller. And that was the real victory. Even if it didn't bring back what he lost, she got 22 years. Neighbors brought casseroles, shook Andre's hand, thanked him for showing courage when fear tried to run him off the block. But the lesson lingered longer than the smoke. Hate starts small, with petty complaints and sharp words, and grows when nobody confronts it. That night, standing by the ashes with Sharon and Victor, Andre whispered, "We're still standing." That's enough. Some called him a hero. Others wondered if justice was truly served, and a few whispered about whether HOAs themselves were a kind of madness waiting to catch fire. So, you tell me, when is enough enough? When does a line become a wall, or a neighbor become an enemy? Let me know what you think. Was justice done, or did the fire leave everyone burned in the end? Drop your thoughts below. Share your story if you've ever faced down hate. And if you want more stories that don't flinch from the truth, hit subscribe, because this isn't just entertainment. It's what happens when community is tested and the world is watching.